come back and answer any questions or explain anything that we might want
You
in
know,
the future,
I
besides
think
maybe the Jimmy Kimmel thing.
you know, well, the Jimmy Kimmel thing is very funny, and you know, it's you know, there is only one ending to Lost. That is a serious ending to the show, and that's the one that you'll see on Sunday. But the stuff on Kimmel's really great, and it's very funny, and you should definitely watch it. Look, you know, we feel like we want the show to speak for itself. We want the sort of same debate that has existed after every other episode of the show, and particularly after every series finale, to continue on after this finale is over. We don't want to be out there basically interpreting, saying, you know, you must think this, you must think that. That's been a part of Lost. Part of Lost is being able to discuss and debate the meaning of the show, and for you yourselves to be able to find what's meaningful in that show for you, and that what's meaningful in the show might be different depending on what you bring to the table when you watch the show. And we feel like we did our best job to kind of put what we wanted to say into the show, and so then we need to be respectful of that and let the show live. As to whether we will come back out, and I mean, we're not disappearing off the face of the earth. We're going to do other projects. We're going to make other shows and stuff like that. But we figured out no timetable for, you know, when or what we might say about the show in the future.
Now, I have an interesting question, because actually Jorge is, you know, he's on the show, but he's actually a fan of the show. You know, he is, you know, into the show. He has theories about the show. So, you know, now you read the finale, you acted in the finale, and Carlton and I came down, and we were basically like, we are available to you to ask us questions about the finale, and you didn't. You know,
Right.
Why not?
He was busy.
Well, I was that guy that he said. I was like, I haven't asked for 6 seasons. Why do I need to ask now to do this final scene in the finale?
But is there a part of you that,
It's
as
just
a fan,
been kind of. Well, as a fan. No, I mean, I think I got it. What I want to say, though, I do want to say something. What we really want you guys to do is next fall, when you find that show that you're going to love, and you watch that show, and the next day when you go into work, still talk about Lost, though.
Just like a episode of Lost, we are going to go a little longer than scheduled. But we have time for a few more questions. So I think your friend in the jumpsuit.
Hey.
So in every universe, whether it's the universe in Flashes Before Your Eyes or the Sideways universe, Eloise seems to have a superior awareness of everything that's going on. I was wondering if you could talk about, you know, why is she so special and what is her agenda?
It's the hair.
You know what? You're doing such a good job with these questions. You should go ahead and do this one too.
You know,
we obviously can't say too much about that. I mean, that would be spoiling kind of what comes up at the end.
We can't answer it. As storytellers, especially on a show like this, we have something that we call in the writers' room the Johnny the Explainer scene. And, you know, and the cool thing is that Johnny the Explainer is constantly shifting. So sometimes Benjamin Linus is Johnny the Explainer, except he's telling a story about how he's Henry Gale and he crashed in a balloon. And you basically go, well, I don't know whether I can believe this. Eloise Hawking has earned a certain degree of credibility over time, pun intended, because, you know, she is very helpful in terms of explaining these things. We did this episode called Happily Ever After, where Charlie is sort of dancing around this idea that this doesn't feel right, but he doesn't know exactly why. And then that becomes infectious when Desmond sees him put his hand up against the window. And we just felt, he's going to run into Hawking here, and Desmond's paradigm with Hawking is that she is Johnny the Explainer, except this time she is not going to give up the fruit of the tree. You know, the last time that they spoke, and she downloaded him very specifically on what the rules were of time travel, et cetera, et cetera. We just wanted her to say stop this time. And it's really important to always have someone on the show who apparently knows all the answers so that the characters can can, ask them those questions, and then, like Carlton and I, that character can completely blow them off.
But you know, the thing is that there is no sort of ultimate authority, and that was one of the things that we were very conscious about in the story-making process. Different people possess different bits of information, and so, you know, again, like life, you know, you don't get the rule book that explains exactly how you should lead your life, what all the answers are to all the particular questions that sort of you have as you make your way on your journey. Our characters don't get that full and complete rule book either. They figure out some of the rules, they ponder others, they ask other people questions, and they don't know whether their answers that they get are reliable answers or unreliable answers. And sometimes characters provide information, and it is very helpful and specific, but we didn't want there to be a single person or a single scene where, you know, everything was sort of laid out. That just didn't feel like it was the appropriate sort of part of our storytelling. And so Eloise does provide essential information in certain scenes, but it's very specific and contextualized to those episodes.
Sure. Over here.
Hello, America and Canada. This is a question for Jorge, Damon, and Carlton. You know, I think a lot of us here are probably big fans of the Official Lost podcast and Geronimo Jacksbeard. So will you guys keep podcasting, please? And Jorge, are you going to keep podcasting?
Not really. I mean, it was just kind of something to do this final season, just because I was listening to the podcasting communities and listening to what was being talked about the show. So well, to be honest, I just came up with the name first, and then I thought, now I have to do a podcast for it. And then, so, I mean, there's going to be a little...
Tell people the name of your podcast for those who haven't found it yet.
It's called Geronimo Jacksbeard. And we took a little of this one and took a little of that one and made them yeah, it's kind of like I was throwing names back and forth for a podcast with the guy who did the Dharmalars, and then when that one came up, I just liked it so much, and then I had a friend do the logo, and I was like, oh, now I really have to do it. And that's where we kind of did it. And we just thought doing it from the scripts kind of kept us on the same page as the people watching, except when we had to sometimes take stuff out because it didn't make the final episode. And so we might do one or two after the finale. That's kind of the Flash Sideways version, where you might talk about some of those things. That'll be it. And
And for us, it's as much as maybe you feel you want the podcast to continue now. Once the show's over, it feels it feels like there's not much to talk about anymore, and we don't want to run the risk of basically being the guys who don't know that the party's over. You don't it's like we don't want to be the guy who's signing autographs at Comic-Con 7 years. Hey,
Cut
creator of Lost, technically co-creator, yes, but.
So we have one special surprise for you. It's a clip from Sunday's finale. I'm sorry, we've run out of time on questions and answers, but they'll stay around afterwards and maybe deflect some more questions.
Yeah, we don't be frightened. We did select a clip that we feel is spoiler-free.
But we really hope you guys enjoy the finale, and thanks for coming out tonight.
As long as you're watching, why don't you join us?
What are you doing here, James?
Heard Desmond fell in a well, so I came to help him get out. Looks like somebody beat us both to the punch. Oh, well.
Do you know why I'm here?
I'm guessing you need Desmond to destroy the island.
That's absolutely right.
Then what, Smokey? You going down with the ship? Suicide doesn't seem like your style.
I'm not going down with anything. But you and the rest of Jacob's little candidates absolutely are.
We're not candidates anymore.
Ah!